The following video is sponsored by Cromlech. Well, happy birthday to 40k Theories. That's right, 1 year ago today we posted our very first theory video on this channel. So, yay! Now, with that out of the way, let's get on with this special what if theory. The Horus Heresy was one of the most significant events to happen in human history. A civil war that turned brother against brother, saw the end of humanity's golden age, and ended with the ascension of the Emperor to the Golden Throne. The majority of forces loyal to Horus were hounded into the Eye of Terror, and planets such as Davin and Istvan V were sterilised. Records and remaining homeworlds of the traitor legions were destroyed, the truth of science and logic replaced with religious fanaticism, and humanity plunged into a new dark age of superstition and mysticism. But what would the universe of Warhammer 40,000 look like if the Horus Heresy never happened? It would be a drastically different place, and for the purpose of this theory, we will assume that none of the other Primarchs fell to chaos. For starters, the most obvious difference would be that the Emperor and the Primarchs would all still be alive. The traitor Primarchs would have never ascended into demonhood, and planets that were destroyed or devastated over the course of the heresy, such as Calth or Istvan III, would still be in their prime. The Imperium would be divided into subsectors, from which each particular Primarch would rule in their father's name, although the lost Primarchs would still be missing, as their fate occurred prior to the Horus Heresy. The legions themselves would not have been split up, as the Codex Astartes was drawn up originally as a countermeasure to prevent an event like the Horus Heresy happening again, leaving the legions largely intact. The Blood Angels would never have succumbed to the Black Rage, as that was caused by the death of Sanguinius at the hands of Horus, and the Red Thirst would only affect a small amount of the Legion, as the Red Thirst was truly awoken during the battle for Cygnus Prime against the demonic forces of Khorne. The Imperial Webway project would have been completed by the Emperor, and would not have been damaged by Magnus the Red, and, given the visions he saw in the novel A Thousand Suns, Magnus the Red himself would be sitting upon the Golden Throne, using his immense psychic gift to help guide humanity as they now travel from world to world without having to resort to using warp travel, and in turn not risk potential demonic incursion. Some of the Primarchs, however, could potentially turn renegade, the most likely of which being Conrad Kurz, due to his cruel and sadistic nature, and Angron, due to the Butcher's Nails turning him and his entire legion into frothing berserkers. That being said, if the World Eaters were constantly able to find battle, such as against numerous Orc incursions or against Necron uprisings, then their tendencies could well be satiated. The same, however, could not be said about the Night Lords, who, even during the later days of the Great Crusade before the Horus Heresy, were finding their numbers being swelled almost exclusively by murderous criminals. But if Kurz did grow rogue, then he would be swiftly put down by the other legions, albeit after a brutal campaign, as no one legion would be able to stand against several others. Lorgar's groundwork, the Lectitia Divinitatis, would potentially grow in strength, despite the Emperor's pleas to the contrary that he is not a god, which in turn would still lead to the creation of the Ecclesiarchy, although in this timeline they would not have the power they do after the Horus Heresy. Ecclesiarchal troops could potentially come into conflicts with non-believers, and forces such as the Arbites and even the Astartes. Because of the Imperium's growth and overall unity, this would have several effects on many Xenos species. The Eldar would slowly become extinct due to the Maiden Worlds becoming colonized, and given the existence of the Imperial Webway as well, legions of Astartes would potentially march upon the Craft Worlds and purge the galaxy of the ancient race, potentially leaving only the Dark Eldar deep in their hidden city of Camorra. The Tau would have more than likely not evolved past their Stone Age level of technology, as their homeworld would have either been purged, set up by colonialists, claimed by the Ultramarines as part of the Ultramar Empire, or even converted into a Forge world. Orc incursions would still occur, but they would be treated less as a credible threat, and more of an annoyance requiring pest control. The Necrons, however, would still rise from their tomb worlds, and eventually come into conflict with Imperial forces. But given the size and unity of the Legio Astartes, it would be an extremely hard fought and very bloody conflict. The most significant difference in regards to the Xenos races is that the Tyranids would not have invaded the Milky Way galaxy. This is due in part that during the Battle of Sotha that took place during the Horus Heresy, a piece of Xenos technology, known as the Pharos beacon, was overloaded and destroyed, creating a vast flash of energy within the void, which, in turn, attracted the Tyranid hive fleets to the galaxy. Without the Battle of Sotha occurring, the Tyranids would continue drifting in the void, potentially bypassing our galaxy altogether in their eternal quest to feed. The forces of chaos would also be weakened, as, given the widespread nature of the Imperial truth and purging of various local religions and cults, it would leave the Dark Gods with fewer and fewer servants. And given humanity abandoning or at least rarely using warp space travel, they would have less opportunities to whisper their temptations to those who aren't already psychically sensitive. Ironically, while the Chaos Gods would eventually begin to starve, the belief that many would actually have in the Emperor's own divinity would potentially allow the Emperor to destroy the gods once and for all. Or at least, as the warp generates entities based on emotion and feeling, begin to create a new god in parallel to the Emperor's own divinity. That's it for this episode. If you think differently, write in the comments section below, and thank you for your support over this year. We've grown immensely and we couldn't have done it without you, the fans. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all again next time. Bye bye. Before you go, why not visit our sponsor at cromlech.eu and bitsofwar.com for some awesome third-party models and conversion kits for your collection, featuring new bodies, new weapons, and even brand new vehicles to add to your collection. Visit cromlech.eu and bitsofwar.com today, and we'll see you all again next time.